The truth is, every single time I see this boy's video trending, this Black American teenage boy video, 14 years teenage boy video trending that was previewed by an Asian store owner, I get really mad, honestly, because how can all of this be happening and we still have some Asians having the audacity, the effrontery, the temerity to still come online and say that every single thing that is happening with Black Americans boycotting Asian people's businesses is as a result of jealousy, how they work hard, east, west, north, and south. I'll first of all allow you guys watch this clip I have for you guys in case you missed out in the other two that I actually uploaded, so that you can literally understand where the pain is coming from, and you can also know that Black Americans literally do not have any ally assistance. Like, I don't care, they just have their self. I just want you guys to watch. Credits to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you liking, commenting, sharing, dropping super thanks, and also joining my membership. I do not take you guys for granted. You guys are absolutely the best. With that being said, please watch this video. I'll be back with commentaries.
He was racially profiled. They followed him around. He was shopping. He took 4 waters, he put them back. He even showed them by shaking his hoodie that he took nothing. And he walked out of the store. He didn't argue with them. He didn't have any confrontation. He didn't curse them. He just walked out. He was respectful. And yet 2 grown people chased him. He fell and they shot him. He shot him dead, like as if he was a dog. And I do not understand how that jury can come back and say that he was not guilty. He was in a runner's stance. It was shown by the pathologist, and they said he was not guilty. It was devastating for me to get a call from Alvin S. Glenn letting me know that Rick Chow was released. That broke me more than you can ever imagine, because my murderer of my son was set free. And it's not fair, and it's unjust. And nobody can tell me that this is not racially motivated, because I'm not supposed to be on social media anyway. But when I go and I look at my social media, I have racist people coming to my page, going under my son's pictures, leaving the most horrific things, saying that they're glad he's dead, good riddance, and I am tired. I don't want this to happen to any other child. No Black or brown child should have to go through this. No parent should have to go through this. This has to stop today. And I just learned today that South Carolina, if it's a murder charge, that they cannot bring in any of your prior acts. Rick Chow shot 2 people before. Rick Chow accosted a child in that store and beat her up with a gun on her hip. And none of that information could be brought to light. And I do not think that is fair. And if that is on the law books, that needs to be changed. Because if that was not there, then my son would have gotten justice. And to allow this person to terrorize this neighborhood for 12, 13 years is ridiculous. And it's just showing that it's okay to treat Black and brown people wrong, and it's not. My son loved everybody. He would tell me, like, oh, Mom, you're being judgmental. You shouldn't do that. That's against God. And the devil shot him dead, and he laid right there. And we got no justice from South Carolina. And I think it is disgusting, and I don't even know why. I have no words. But every day I will not be able to speak to my son, hear his voice change, see him grow, go to prom. He will never get married. I would never hold my grandchildren, nothing. But Chow is able to go home with his lion son, Andy Chow, and they're able to have dinner with the wife, Alice, who all 3 of them came out that store, and they chased my baby. And I think the entire family should be held accountable because it was racially profiled. And I do not think that it is right, and they all should be punished. And I don't know what laws that we need to create to help our people, but it needs to be done, and it needs to be done now. Cyrus should not be gone. None of our children should be gone from the acts of racism, from profiling, from any of that. He should be here. And until the world treats us like we are human beings, I mean, come on. Y'all hire us. Y'all want us around. You like our culture. You want to listen to the music. You want to wear our clothes. You want to do all of that stuff. But when it comes to protecting us and when it comes to looking at our children, you look at us as if we are animals, and we are not. I am a college-educated woman. I hold a master's degree in information technology management. My son was not a thug. He was a 14-year-old boy who was trying to find his way. And for any person that acts like when they were 14, 15, 16, 17, that they did not do nothing wrong, that they did not smoke and drink and have sex and do whatever that they were not supposed to do by their parents, it is a lie. And it is judgmental, and I refuse to allow any of you to sit up there and make it seem like we were bad parents, because we were not. All of our children make mistakes, but I don't see anybody saying, oh, well, you know what? My kid did X, Y, and Z. My kid did X, Y, and Z. No, they're coming onto my page and try to demonize my child, and I will not have it. And it stops today. Keep your opinions to yourself. And until you are in my shoes and you have to bury a child, I don't want to hear nothing from you.
Where are the Asian Americans? Why don't I see y'all advocating for us?
There's something cultural about the violent nature of Asians.
Asian American here. Before I begin, I will leave the link for the GoFundMe for Cyrus in my profile. It's been 3 years, but I have seen people donating it in the past couple days, so I'm hoping the money is still going to his family. Before I get into the Rick Chow case, I need to share one quick statistic. And when we talk about violent and homicide crimes in America, a majority, overwhelming majority, some people say it's like 85%, are intraracial. So when the perpetrator and the victim's races are known, they tend to be the same. Violent crimes of incidents by victim and offender race, you'll see that for white people, black people, Hispanic people, the majority are committed by the same race. The only category that differs is the Asian and Native Hawaiian and Pacific Islander category, where perpetrator of violent crimes against Asian people are actually white people. We're going to talk about two cases, Rick Chow and also Grandpa Vicha. The similarities are that they both happened years ago. Grandpa Vicha happened back in 2021. Rick Chow's case happened in 2023, but just now were the verdicts released this year and or the court proceedings happening. And the difference is that in one, Grandpa Vicha was the victim was Asian, the perpetrator was black, and in the other, Rick Chow is the perpetrator and the victim is black. This is not Rick Chow's first incident where he shot some of his patrons. He shot at a moving car, and he also shot someone in the leg over alleged stealing. And in this case, there was no water bottles that were stolen. Cypress didn't steal anything. Everyone who looks at this case should say, well, there's no reason why you should be shooting a child in the back when they are running away from you. And that's it. You know, that's my stance. The reason why I'm going to say it is that I hope Cypress and his family gets justice is because the justice system doesn't always deliver. And we're going to go to the next case, which the verdict came out earlier this year of Grandpa Vicha. Vicha was pushed by Anton Watson to the ground. He hit his head and he died. Anton Watson was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter, guilty of assault, but not guilty of first and second degree murder or elder abuse. His family believes that justice was not served. In both situations involving a black and an Asian person, neither parties were charged with a hate crime. You might be wondering, well, what is the point? The point is, and I'm just going to read something really quickly, how media coverage can distort perceived prevalence of interracial violence. High-profile incidences, particularly those framed as racially motivated, can create the impression that interracial attacks are common despite statistical rarity. This divergence between anecdote and aggregated data demonstrates how selective amplification can shape public fear and policy debate, meaning factual conversations require returning to comprehensive victimization and arrest datasets rather than isolated cases. If you want to look up cases where a black person kills an Asian person, You can find many of them. If you want to look up a case of a Asian person killing a black person, you can also find many of them. Do they represent what the bigger picture is? No. People then go on to make broad statements of the entire race. You know, we see that happen all the time. We see statements where people say, well, black people are inherently violent. And now we see people saying, well, Asian people are inherently violent, even though statistics do not prove either statement, because the biggest perpetrator of violence in America are white men. When you make broad statements to frame an entire race as inherently violent or culturally violent, you're just engaging in white supremacist essentialist takes that say, well, you guys are born this way. This is your culture. You're just violent. To end the video on a positive note, I wanted to read from the GoFundMe from 3 years ago by a Taiwanese Chinese American woman. She wrote, "My heart and thoughts are with your family. I want to encourage all Asians to help to support Black Lives Matter and to send messages of support. This is not a difficult decision. I refuse to protect a child murderer just because he is the same race as me. Rick Chow is a criminal that needs to go to jail immediately. He needs to apologize. If Rick Chow felt afraid or uncomfortable, he should have moved his business elsewhere long ago. I would like all Asian businesses that don't respect Black lives to move away and work somewhere else. How Asians respond to this reflects on us as a group. I hope this contribution goes directly to Cyrus's family. I am so sorry for your loss." And that is a sentiment I carry. Asian and Black communities do have historic tension, but we also do have historic alliance.
That little boy could have stolen 100 water bottles and he still wouldn't have deserved to be shot in the back. And the fact that that store owner was found not guilty, you can debate whether it was manslaughter or murder or whatever. It doesn't change the fact that that store owner has multiple shootings under his belt at other quote-unquote shoplifters. That man has clearly been itching to kill somebody, and he just got away with it. You don't chase someone 130 yards and shoot them in the back and then claim self-defense.
Andy Chow not being able to answer the question of,
was he trying to get away from you two?
I'm not sure.
He was running away from you, right, Andy?
I can't speak for him.
was he running towards you or running away from you? Tells us all we need to know. They not playing fair. They knew exactly what they did. They already didn't like Black people, because if you already didn't have some sort of internalized hate for Blacks, you would have never reacted to allegedly a couple of water bottles being stolen from your store. Stealing is bad, no matter what, right? In this case, he didn't steal nothing. And this case is given Emmett Till because, again, another group of people's women got another Black man or boy deleted. And as you can see, their community is sticking together. They don't give a fuck that that Black boy got killed, deleted over some water. Black people, it's time to wake up. Let's leave each other the fuck alone, and let's get on these other people's necks, all right? We all don't got to get along. But when one of them transgresses on one of us, it's up. I'm tired of it. I'm going to be honest. That boy he didn't even want to answer the question of, was he running towards you or away from you? That's the world we living in. Watching Andy fucking Chow is all you needed to know. That's all. He knows that that boy was running away from them. So whether that nigga had a pistol or not, this is America. Pistols are legal. Okay? And if I got a pistol and I'm running away from you, I'm obviously not trying to use it on you. Right? that boy answer, him not being able to answer, was he running towards you or away from you? Nigga just sitting there looking dumb as fuck because he knows. Black people, wake up, bro. It's over, bro. I'm not playing with nobody no more. Nobody. I don't want to be a part of nobody fucking community. Oh, we're all friends. Ain't none of that shit no more. It's over.
To understand what happened in the Rick Chow case and what's coming next, you need to understand a concept called the burden of proof. My name is John Graham. I'm an attorney in Charleston, South Carolina. When a party steps into a courtroom and makes a claim, whether that's the state making a criminal claim or a private party making a civil claim, the law requires that party to convince the jury to different degrees of certainty that their claim is true. That's what we call the burden of proof. During the Chow case, you probably heard beyond a reasonable doubt. That is the criminal burden of proof. The state has to exclude any logically possible alternative explanation of the facts and show that the only possible explanation is that guy did it. To prove a murder charge, the state has to show an unlawful killing with malice aforethought beyond a reasonable doubt, a guilty act and a guilty mind with that burden of proof. Unlawful killing means the state has to exclude any possible explanation, including self-defense, because a killing made in self-defense is not unlawful. They also have to prove that Mr. Chow acted with malice aforethought, an actual hostility towards Cyrus and an intent to kill him, not merely to defend himself. The state chose not to include a charge for manslaughter, which would have only required them to prove that Mr. Chow had a conscious disregard for the safety of his community. That is much more in keeping with the evidence we saw in this case. Now, that's the criminal case. In civil court, the burden of proof is lower, and Cyrus's family has already filed a wrongful death suit in civil court. In civil court, the plaintiff only has to prove that they're probably right. It's the preponderance or the greater weight of the evidence standard, or as I like to call it, the probably yeah standard. Cyrus's family doesn't have to exclude every logically possible alternative explanation. There could be lots of alternative explanations of the facts, but if the jury at the end of the trial says, probably yeah, Mr. Chow was negligent, that's it. They have to find for Cyrus's family. It's a lot like the OJ trial. OJ was acquitted in the criminal case, but he was found responsible in the civil case. The fact that the state did not meet the high burden of proof required for criminal justice does not stop Cyrus's family from pursuing the lower burden of proof for civil justice. The other fun thing about civil court is that Mr. Chow will likely end up testifying. Almost certainly he will end up testifying, and that will give us a lot more information about what happened that night.
And took his shoe and both cell phones that fell out. What's crazy about all of this is that she's the one that began all of this issue. In fact, the moment he walked in, she starts yelling at him to take off his backpack. He doesn't even say anything to her. He puts the backpack down. You see her leave in the surveillance footage, and I'll show it in a minute or in the next video. You actually see her acting like she's putting potato chips together, and she's just monitoring him. Finally, he grabs 4 water bottles, walks away, then puts them back. There she is. And when he puts the 4 water bottles back, she starts following him to the front, arguing with him, and that's when her son gets involved. Tell me how this woman is not in jail when they have also surveillance footage showing that before the police arrived, she grabbed both of the cell phones that fell out of the jacket, as well as his shoes, runs back inside with all of it. So police arrive. They have no idea that that's missing from the crime scene. They're trying to figure out what transpired. They're interviewing people. They find the backpack. They find other things. Not even realizing, hold up, 2 cell phones fell out? Wait a minute, shoes? Where's the boy's shoes? So I imagine at that point when they realized that the boy's shoes were not on him, that's when they're like, oh, yeah, my wife, she has them. This is insane to me. And I don't even know specifically. I think it was like the day after is when they actually ended up getting the cell phone and the shoes back. How is it possible that she is not in jail? I mean, maybe she is, and I don't know. To me, she is just as guilty as the man that pulled the trigger, in my opinion, allegedly.
So you mean to tell me they found him not guilty? They found him not guilty after him and his funky son chased this 14-year-old boy, Cyrus, out of a Shell gas station miles away from where the gas station was because they thought he stole something. He didn't steal anything, didn't take anything from that tacky store. They shot him in his back as he was running away from them, trying to get away from them. And yet y'all found him not guilty. Let me say this. It's very disheartening because my whole life, this is all I've ever seen. The earliest version of this that I seen was Trayvon Martin. Okay, I was a kid when that happened. Then it was Mike Brown that happened in my very own city, St. Louis, Missouri. To see this continuously happening and nobody's doing anything, nobody's getting the time, there's no justice that's served, I really do think that there is a flaw in the system, and they're just showing us how they feel about little black boys. Yeah, but the Lord has the final say.
First of all, Rick Chow and Andy Chow, the store owner that unalived that boy Cyrus Belton, they both need to go to jail for chasing that child. Okay, I don't care if Rick was the one that pulled the trigger. Andy needs to be put in jail too. Cause y'all both grown as fuck. First of all, I'm not chasing nobody outside, and this is the parallel to the conversation I was having earlier. In customer service, call the fucking police. You've already sat there and asked him, hey, are you stealing? Are you stealing? Hey, man, he stepped foot out the store. Call the police. Let the police handle it. And I ain't gonna lie to you, the police probably wouldn't have done that because it's a fucking bottle of water. This kid lost his life over a fucking bottle of water. We could have a conversation on whether the kid had a gun or not. Like, you know what I mean? Like, do I think that's concerning for me that a 14-year-old boy had a gun on him? But he had ample of opportunities if he really wanted to pull that motherfucker. So no, I don't believe that he pulled that gun on y'all. I think it fell out. It fell out, and he shot because he seen a gun. Either way, you shooting him in the back. You're chasing him. Even by law, that's not self-defense. He never turned around to you to shoot. So, you know what I mean? Both of y'all need to go to jail, big dog, for escalating a situation. And that was the point that I was making, bro, is that y'all niggas love violence because y'all love escalating issues that don't need to be escalated. I'm not running nowhere, bro. I done worked security so long. That's the first thing they tell you. Hey, bro, don't chase nobody because you don't know what the fuck they got on them. You don't know what they got on them. So I'm not chasing you down the street. What if Rick Child didn't have his gun on him and that 14-year-old did turn around and pull the trigger and unalive both of you over a bottle of water? Y'all chasing him down. I'm sorry, bro. I'm not going to feel sorry for you in that instant. Both of y'all need to go to jail. Sorry, not sorry.
It is pride, but we are going to talk about Rick Chow and how much of a bullshit fucking verdict it was that he was allowed to walk free after murdering a young man. The thing is, the jury decided to listen to this argument of self-defense. Guys, when you chase somebody, the argument of self-defense has to go out the window because in that moment, they are literally rendering you as the threat. That does not make sense. Self-defense, in any circumstances, we would all understand it as people with common sense, would be if this person that Rick Chow had shot was up on his person, beginning to manhandle him. And in that moment, he has a reasonable suspicion that this person is going to keep doing him harm, lest he stop it with the means he has, which in this case would have been his gun. The moment you chase somebody out of a store, you are not defending anything. You are an aggressor. You are trying to create more conflict. You are quite literally at that point trying to enact violence on a person. And that is important because it's a difference than, oh, I needed to be violent momentarily to stop the conflict. He was creating the conflict. If in any circumstance you could reasonably say that, in the moment after you defended yourself, you potentially could just keep standing over them to do whatever it is you're doing, you're not defending anything. You're attacking them. And the reason that court decided to side with him is because just like Mr. Chow himself, that court did not value the life of a young black person. Period, end of story. They were glad to see that young man be murdered. Okay? And that's fucked up beyond belief.
I'm not a lawyer, but let's get into day 3 of South Carolina versus Rick Chow. And before we get into the specifics, let's clear one thing up.
Cyrus Carmack Belton did not steal anything from that store.
He did not. He saw something that he thought, Andy Chow saw something and he thought looked heavy in his hoodie, in the pockets of his hoodie. And that could have been something that he took, like the water. Well, we now know that it wasn't the water, But it was a semi-automatic loaded pistol with a laser on it in those pockets.
You were pretty certain that he took that one off, weren't you?
I did believe that he had stolen something, yes, sir.
But you're wrong.
Afterwards, I did learn he did not take it.
Okay, so day 3 picks up with the defense presenting their side of the case. And the main witness of the day was the store owner's son, Andy Chow. At the time of the incident, Andy was 20 years old, in college, and occasionally helping his family out at the store. So the defense calls Andy to the stand to tell jurors what he says happened that day.
He goes to the water cooler, and that's when I think he pockets a water. And so he comes to the front, starts coming to the front, and I ask him if there's anything in his pocket, and he says no. My mom also asks him, and then I see he turns to both of us, and he tries to show there's nothing in his pocket, but he keeps his hands in the pocket and still like trying to hide something. He grabs his backpack and walks out the door, and both hands are out of the pocket now. I see something heavy just droop down in his hoodie pocket. That's when I come around the counter and I call out to him, hey, and he doesn't turn around, he just keeps going. And so I walk to the door, I walk out the door, and I see he turns the corner of the store. And so I walk over to the corner. Then I hear my dad come up behind me, and he calls out, hey, to him. He turns around and immediately turns back around and starts to sprint away. And that's when I start to run. He crosses the street, and I go to cross the street, and then I see he trips and falls flat. I was running full speed, so I end up catching up to him. When I catch up to him, I see something is in his hand. I'm not sure what it is yet. But as he starts to get up, I see that it's a gun, and he points it at me. So I immediately put my hands up. I start to back away from him quickly, and then I yell, he has a gun, and then I turn to my dad, who's coming up behind us, and I yell at him again, he has a gun. I'm still backing up, and I watch my dad, and I watch him yell, drop it, and he yells no, and then pulls his gun and fires one shot. I see he takes 1 or 2 steps, drops his gun in front of him, and then ducks to the ground and stays on the ground. My dad, he picks up the young man's gun and he tosses it to the side, further away. Then my dad immediately grabs his hoodie and applies pressure to the wound and starts to call the police.
To every single hand that contributed to the pains of what this woman is going through, to every single judge that sat there, looked at this case, opened their mouths to said that this man that literally pupilled this 14-year-old boy was not found guilty, to every single hand, bribe, anything that went behind the scene to declare this man that pupilled this child not guilty, may it happen to you. May it visit your family, so that you can be able to understand the pains that this woman is literally going through. So that you can be able to feel the pains, feel the agony of what this woman is going through. And you know the stupid and the annoying part is me seeing some Asian people doing videos and saying, even if Black Americans want to boycott, like they don't care. Like some of these people literally do not even have conscience. Because if you have conscience and you are a father, or you are a mother, or you have a brother, or you have a sister that is 14 years old and obviously got pupil just because they thought he carried water, he showed them his sweater, he was not with any water, he dropped back those water, they ran, followed him, run till he was actually pupilled. You will understand the pain that this woman is literally going through. I don't know which particular kind of judge is that can literally have the mind and the audacity to say, this man is not found guilty. And these are the word. This is the world that Black Americans are living. A world that nobody care for them. A world that nobody see them. A world that they are fighting alone. They are standing alone. But whenever it comes to issues, they want Black Americans to come in solidarity. They want Black Americans to show their face. They want Black Americans to be their hero. They want Black Americans to always support. They want Black Americans to always patronize. And I will keep saying it, like, this is not the first cases that we have seen. Like, this is not the first cases that we've seen. We've seen a lot of cases like this that were just trashed out. Just let it go. Who are we talking about? Is it Asian someone? Is not a Black? Let that person go. But if it was a Black American that actually pew-pewed the son of this Asian man, by now that person would have been in maybe probably serving life imprisonment. Just so stressing and disgusting anyways. So stressful, it's disgusting. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Credit to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you liking, commenting, sharing, dropping super thanks, and also joining my membership. I do not take you guys for granted. You guys are absolutely the best. And yes, guys, with that being said, with no further ado, I do like I always say in my videos, I'm going to be saying bye, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comment section, because honestly, I can't wrap my head towards this. I'll see you guys in my next one.